Hello, hello, last art project of the year. I hope you're excited for summer, and I know you're excited to be done with school pretty soon here, even though we all love you so much and we're going to miss you. But it is time for everybody to have a break. So before we leave, I want to teach you this one last art project. It's going to be a watercolor painting, and it looks difficult, but it's pretty easy, I think. I think it'll be easy. You're going to need a piece of paper. If you have watercolor paper, that would be great. If you have drawing paper or construction paper, that would be good. Printer paper is a little harder, but you can still use that. So paper, you need a pencil, you need your watercolor paints, and a brush, paintbrush, and some water. And I like to always have like a towel or a paper towel or something to blot my brush on. If you do not have paints at all, why don't you try this with markers? You can still do it, or colored pencils or whatever you have. So, okay, let me switch up my camera and we'll get started. All right, here we go. I'd like you to have your paper in the vertical or portrait position. We're creating a waterfall that'll run down the middle of your page and cascade over the edge of a cliff. I know it sounds difficult, but if you hang in there with me and you draw just like this and paint the way I'm going to show you, I think you will have success. So let's get your pencil first. I'm going to draw really dark so you can see it, but if you try to keep your pencil marks lighter, I think your overall drawing will look better. Okay, we're going to start over here at the top. I'm about almost an inch down. Sorry, my pencil just broke. I think I need to throw away that pencil. Every time I use it, it breaks on the first touch. Okay, I'm doing it in color pencil because that's all I have here. Okay, almost an inch down from the left side of the paper. I would like you to draw across a little bit. This is a mountain range in the distance, okay? So it's going to come down like a V, about to the middle of the page, and then gradually and gently it slopes back up and goes off the other side of the page there. Then, a little bit less than an inch above that, I want you to do a kind of a connector line that just goes straight across. This represents far away mountain range or some type of land far away. Okay, now let's put the water in next. Starting at that V that you gave me up here, I want you to do a line that curves over like that. Coming back up to the V. We're going to start this very skinny because when you're looking at something far away, it's skinny and small, and as it gets closer it widens up or gets thicker. So when you look at a train track, the tracks that are closest to you seem to be like this, but as it goes off into the distance they get closer and closer together. That is called perspective. Alright, so now this line that we ended here, we're going to curve this around and we're going to come over this way. And then let's take this guy. Notice how it's getting a little bit wider. It's opening up. Okay? So we have that curve. Now we're going to go back over here again. Bring this guy around like that. This guy is going to come in and stop right about there. Remember, you can rewind this or pause it, replay it. So if I'm going too fast, you can always stop and catch up. Okay, now we ended here, so let's bring this one right here. I am about halfway down the page, just a little bit more than halfway down the page. So let's stop it there. Now this guy right here is going to do something weird because there's actually a mountain that's going to come in front of it. So we're going to go like this and like this. If you are not sure of this line, hold off for a minute and let me draw the mountain so you can see what I mean. Okay. The mountain on that one starts way up here at this line. We're about half an inch in from the edge of the paper, and then it comes down like this, and it's kind of a little crooked because it's a jagged mountain. Alright, and then it joins up with the water. So this is all mountain, and it kind of cuts in front of the water right there. Okay. Now, let's take this water all the way down, and we're going to maybe give it a little curve or something down here. This is sort of where it drops into a pool, or maybe it's splashing around or something. Okay, now find this section here. We're going to let this all of a sudden curve down, so it's practically, these are vertical lines just about. They can be a little crooked, but vertical. up and down lines, and then it comes across. So now you've got water, and in a minute we're going to draw the cliff here where it makes a right angle and it just drops off over the cliff. Okay, so the cliff, let's start it over here. Here's this mark here. We're going to go a little above that, and then it's going to come down like this. Then really lightly, I want you to draw it here. I'm going to do mine dark, but just give it a little curve. So this kind of tells you here's the place where the water starts to drop. It sort of helps you out to have that visual there when you do your painting. Okay, we're almost done with this drawing. We need to do a few more mountain ranges. Now, find this curve right here. Let's have, here's the curve. Let's go over to the side and up a little bit. Starting here, we're going to do just a little mountain that comes down and meets that curve. And then let's go in between these two lines. Let's do another one. Maybe this one kind of comes up and it goes down to about where that curve is. One more line, and that's all we need. We're just going to go find this place, go down a little bit, and from here you're just going to have that. Okay, so it makes it look like we have all these kind of mountainous valleys that flow down and come down together and meet up in the water. All right, so that is all we have for our drawing portion. Now we need to get with paint. This whole entire painting is going to be done with blues and greens and purples. So on my palette I have all those type of colors over here on this side. I do have a lot more colors than maybe what you might have. So you can feel free to mix some colors. And also, by the way, I want you to see this. When you first take out your watercolor paints, if you have a little mister, you can do a little mist of water on each one. Maybe that one too. To just kind of soften them up a little bit and get them softened, get them flowing. Okay, so I usually do that. I usually do that about maybe 10 minutes or 5 minutes before I start to paint, but I wanted you to see it. Okay, so I have my brush, probably about the same size as what you have. Let's do the water first. So when things are farther away, so farther off in the distance, in this case we're going to have them be a little bit darker colors and then getting to lighter and lighter and lighter as it comes closer. And also there would probably be, you know, like some white water or splashy stuff in here. So we're going to be darker in the blues up into lighter blues and greens up here. So here we go. Let's get a dark. I'm going to use a turquoise on this. All you have to do to paint this whole entire painting is be able to paint some lines. That's it. So we're just going to do a little bit here. I'm just making some lines along in the water, curving them the way the water curves. Here I want some of them to drop over the edge. So I'm being careful to use that mark that I made. I didn't do a good job right here, but to drop the water over the edge. Okay, and let's have another one maybe here, and right when it gets to that line it makes a curve and maybe it skips. And then down here it's got a curve again. So when the line comes down, now all these lines are going a little bit more in the horizontal direction. Let's have somebody right there. Okay, so that's pass one. Now we'll get a different color of blue. Remember how I said farther away you want to use some more of your dark. So I have a dark blue in here, and I'm just following around making different lines, filling in all of the white eventually. I don't have to do it all right now. Okay, so back in here it's going to be darker, so I'm not going to have this blue appear as frequently, as often up in this front part, because I want to fill this with a little bit more of a lighter color. So I have it here and there, but I don't have it in a lot of places. As you can see, there's way more back there. Okay, there's my blue. Now I'm going to keep going with all kinds of different blues and purples, keeping the darks back here more and getting lighter up here. Now if you're using a purple, you can go full strength dark purple back here, let's say, or blue or whatever color, and it's very dark, right? Let's get some more paint to even make it even darker. Okay, and I'm trying to be careful to stay in the lines, but I am going fast. Now, if I want this purple to continue and appear up here in the front, I can add a little water on my brush and just kind of dilute that purple, and now it's still there, but it's more of a lavender. So I'm still using that same color, just a lighter version of it. So don't feel like just because you don't have as many paints as I do that you can't do this, because you can water down all of your paints so that when they get up here into the front, they're very light. Okay, so I'm going to finish this off on fast motion, so I'm not going to talk for a little bit, and you're going to watch me paint. Okay, let's stop there. Now, let me try and turn it so you don't have as much glare. So you can see it's darker way back in the distance, and as it gets up to the front, it's light. And then down here, I did some curly cues so that the water sort of seems like it has whirlpools and it's crashing down and it's starting to go more horizontally instead of vertically. Okay, now, normally what I would do is I would wait a little while to do the rest of this because I don't want it to bleed together, but we need to finish this, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish. The sky in the very far background, I'm going to have that be a deep, dark turquoise. It's up to you. You could have a midnight blue, whatever color you like. But I'm imagining that it's just a really dark, nice sky. So I'm just going to paint all that in turquoise. Okay, now this piece of land right here is also far off in the distance, so I want that to be a little bit on the darker side. And I have a very dark kind of grayish purple, so if you want to mix some purple with maybe some blue or a tiny touch of black, you could get a dark purple. But be careful, because remember, your sky is wet, right? And this is wet, and if the two touch, they're going to bleed together a little bit. In this case, I think it might be interesting if they bleed together. So there we go, mine's going to touch there, and it will sort of make it look like it's off in the distance, and the sky and land are coming together. See right here, it's starting to bleed together. I'm okay with that. If you don't like it, just leave a little space in between or let it dry, and then later I can come back and darken that up even more. There's a glare on it, but see, it's dark. I can darken that up even more if I want to, or while it's wet I can even wipe the sky with my brush a little bit and kind of blend. I don't want to mess with it too much because it gets kind of funky looking if you mess with it too much. Okay, now everything else on here is purple. Sounds weird, right? But let me show you. I'm going to paint fast again, and I'm going to remember water down my purple so that I have areas that are lighter and darker. In between some of these mountains that come down are areas of darkness. They're shadow, so watch where I do them as I'm painting, and maybe you can put your darks in those same areas too. And remember, I told you all this were just straight lines. We're going to do the same thing on the background, so here we go. Actually, they're more like, I guess here I'm doing blobs. They're not exactly straight lines, but I'm putting in all these darks first just with brush strokes. And you can see I do them on the far side of the mountain. So here's a mountain, and then on the far side of it. And there's the next mountain, and then here we're going on the far side of it. It gives it a sense of depth when you have some shadowing in between your mountains. So I'm doing this one also on the far side of the mountain. Random brush strokes. Let's do a little bit over here. And I'm not gonna do, I'll do a few here. We're getting towards the front here, so I don't want to do too many because we have more light here. Now, also down here at the bottom where the water and the mountain meet, I'll do a little bit of dark down at the base. So I'll do that and then I'm just going to stop talking and speed up on the whole rest of this thing. Okay, now you saw me going back and forth with my brush. I did some brush strokes that went up, some that went down. I just kind of went back and forth. Every once in a while I would dip into some paint, or maybe vary the color of the paint a little bit by adding, here and there I added a little tiny bit of blue into the purple so that I have some differences. So here's some that's a slightly different shade of purple. Okay, what I'm trying to do now is get rid of most of the white, and the paint underneath has started to dry, so I'm gonna get that nice choppiness that I want. I don't really want this one to be smooth, like this whole area nice and smooth. I want it to kind of be choppy. So the fact that the paint underneath has already started drying really helps that happen for me. So as you do this, if you do this, please go back, maybe take a break, stand back, look at it, and try to eliminate some of the white areas, because if there's too many white, it makes the painting look really kind of busy. It is busy anyway because of all these small marks, but if we have too much white in there, our eye doesn't really have a place to stop and rest. I know that sounds kind of weird, but it's a thing. Your eye needs to rest on a painting. So fill in some of these whites. And at the same time, and this is difficult, don't mess with it too much. Let it do its own thing a little bit. Up here, if you notice, that land kind of faded away to gray, and I don't mind that gray color. Okay, so I think that I'm going to be done with that for now. Please notice, though, these areas where I put the dark behind the hills. That really helps us out. It shows us that there's something going on in the background. If you wanted to, you could take another look at it and decide, I really want there to be some more dark here before it crashes over. So add that in if you want to. There we go. I think I like it a little bit better like that. Maybe a little bit will come down, but not too much. Okay, so there you go. You're done. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have a great summer. I am so excited to see you again next year and hear all about what you did this summer, and make some more art with you in the 2020-21 school year. Have a great summer. Bye-bye.